All right, let's get our launch monitor set up here, guys, and then we'll check the audio. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Okay, that sounds great. Let's connect our launch monitor here. Excellent. I'm going to do a new session. Net. Love it. Start there. Set it up to the sand wedge at my 56 degree. While we start getting loose, we'll just start hitting some little chippy ones while we do some stretching and get the body ready. Oof. Very kind of raw, cold, windy day here in New England, guys, with the remnants of that storm coming through. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of leaves starting to come down off the trees. And you can probably hear that wind. It is blowing today. Definitely not the nicest day you could draw up to be outside and playing golf, but you know, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here and ooh, losing my balance here in the wind. Super important to warm up, get the body ready to rotate and push off the ground like we need it to in our golf swing. Do some of these RDLs if I can try not to lose my balance, right? Trying to warm up that posterior chain. And it only really takes about 4 or 5 minutes, guys. You can do some really good warm-up stuff. Just, you know, 6 to 8 on each side. Hello, Paul. It is very windy. You can probably hear it. You can see all the leaves that are starting to come down. Somebody's dog out there is not having a good time. You can hear it just yapping and yapping and yapping. Pretty dicey. All right, we're gonna try to hit one like 50 yards. Just start to get the body loosening. "47 yards on the launch monitor, so we like that. Pretty close. I can see it through the gap. Yes. Hopefully it's not too loud in the background. That was one other thing I was worried could happen. Ugh. Moto King says, I was waiting on your other live video that was supposed to go live at 2 p.m. Oh, you're right. I think you're totally right, my dude. I was supposed to just click go live on that one, wasn't I? I'm still figuring out how to do the scheduled live, so that one, well, what do you guys think? Should I go close this one and start the other one? I think we're already all set up here. But sorry that you were waiting. Not a big deal, just stay here. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to create any confusion. It's simply my own ineptitude. Let me do the other side now. Just trying to, again, warm up through the range of motion that we're going to do our golf swing. So some hip and shoulder rotation at the same time. Got to go sit in an MRI machine this afternoon, guys. That was pretty fun. And by fun, I mean not the most fun. Pinto Beans says, what nickname did you pick? Good question, Pinto Beans. Also, thanks for being here. Tommy Sleekwood, I think, was the winner. That one had the most likes. Kept it pretty democratic for the people. So, I thought that was a pretty cool sound idea that was going around, right? Let people pick a nickname. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. Heading into the weekend. If you're somewhere like me that experiences winter, it might be getting down towards the end of the golf season, or heading into, you know, the fall/winter golf season if you're somebody that tries to play year-round. Other places, you know, out in the desert maybe, just getting into prime season of golf. You know, I am going to have to do one thing, and that is go get a charger. Whoa. Shotgun Tommy abuses swing is a sawn-off shotgun. Yes. I will be back in 1 minute, guys. We need a charger. Thanks for your patience, guys. Hey, I see Squirrel Sniper is here. Greetings, beautiful souls. Fred wants to know, what's the best golf course you've ever played? Well, as far as highest rated, I think the Ocean Course is like number 3 in the U.S. The one that I think is probably the most memorable for me is Cabot Cliffs up in Nova Scotia. Just an incredible property, carved into the cliffside. That was a really, really cool one. Squirrel Sniper's trying to drum up some likes. I love it. Thanks, my dude. Sorry for the confusion, guys. We did schedule a stream, and then I'm still figuring out how to do that, and I just missed the button where it says, go live for the scheduled one, not for the regular way to go live. But here or there, we're here. We're doing some practice. The weather is questionable at best, but it stopped raining, so we're going to take that. How will you practice in the winter? Well, great question. I think I'm going to try to practice out here the same way I have been. I think we're going to try to get a heater to stay warm and at least come out and be able to swing. .56 yards, so looking for around 50, making our first swings of the day. Even today, I'm a little bundled. 55. So when we start getting warm, guys, we can do some fuller swings, and we'll probably do about, I don't know, another 15-20 minutes of wedge practice, calling out different yardages. One version I liked yesterday, people were dropping numbers in the chat, try to hit it 90, try to hit it 99, that sort of thing, which was super fun. But when it got quiet, we just went to the number of viewers watching and used that as a target yardage. Ooh. See, that's the rotation where I still can feel myself needing to stretch out a little. Moto King, 69 yards. Love it. Great selection. Let's see if we can hit 69 yards. Show me something. 70. 70 yards is close to 69. Let's try it again. $70 again. Happy with that. So couldn't get 69 exactly, but Boot says, I absolutely cannot swing in a hoodie. That's why I hate winter. I think it's totally okay to have your own preferences as far as finding, layering techniques that work for you. You might be able to do okay with a solid base layer. Right, guys, I go for the Under Armour long johns and long sleeve. And try and bundle up. Oh, so close, guys. 68. 68 yards. I'm good with 70. Okay, I'll take it. And, maybe another, like a t-shirt under that or over that, a golf shirt, and a quarter zip of some kind. It's really about building up the layers in a way that you can still feel free to swing as efficiently as you can. Jesse's here. So we've hit it 70 and 68. We're going to go for 69. Come on, show me 69. 74. Still in the ballpark. Squirrel Sniper 99. All right, let's go for 99. Jesse says, thanks for the motivation. Oh, of course, bro. That's what I'm here for. Right? You guys see it in the videos. I'm not going to tell you any of these things are easy, but I'm living proof that it is possible to make big changes in your life and get positive outcomes as a result. All right, let's go for 99. $98. Oh, that was so close. Guys, we are really, all this practice, it's starting to pay off, right? Can you guys even see this? It's so bright. 98. It's not 99, but I would be happy with it on the golf course. Yeah, crazy news, breaking news, you could say, from John Young Golf. Practicing things can help you get better at them. Can make you better at things. You know what I'm trying to say. I think we can really dial it in and go for 99. Let's try to hit 99. Thanks for your watch hours. Hey, Squirrel's in here. Paul's in here. Show me 99. That was a little heavy, potentially. Or steep, one or the other. Yep, 86. Called it. Took our eye off the ball. Can't be doing that. That feels pretty darn close to 100 to me. 92. I don't know if I agree. Maybe it was a little too smooth. Chase, what are you being for Halloween? You know, guys, I haven't made it that far yet. And I'll share, this is a potentially unpopular opinion, but ever since I was a kid, just never particularly enjoyed Halloween. I think I felt uncomfortable enough in my own skin, and sometimes still do, that putting on a costume and being silly just didn't, never seemed to really work for me. 99, let's go. We nailed our number. Squirrel Sniper, hell yeah. So 3 tries, 98, 92. Oh, I did fat that one, 86, and then 99. So getting dialed. Plus or minus 1 yard is great, totally. It's costly taking them off the ball. Yeah, totally. Chase says, same. I'm not going trick-or-treating. I'm practicing golf. I love that, dude. Me too. Whoa. I'm going to rescue this golf ball or else it will be devoured by the earth, never to be seen again. One of my goals for this weekend is going to be to at least move some of the leaves out of here, just so I'm losing less golf balls. Because it's probably not shocking to you guys, knowing how much I love practicing and being a golf sicko, you could say. I hit golf balls even when we're not streaming, and there's surely a bunch of them just around. Fortunately, I have plenty. I'm not going to run out anytime soon, but hit with intention. The wind is crazy today. It definitely is, dude. It is not... It would be challenging to get around a golf course on a day like today. That is for sure. That was a little bit of a pull. 102. Yep, see? Told you. Just went a little further than we needed it to. And why does that happen, guys? Class is in session. When we pull it and close the face down, we de-loft the face, especially with a wedge. De-lofted, means it's going to go slightly further than it would have otherwise. That's why, for a right-handed player, every shot pattern, regardless of the shape you play, is a, an oval that stretches from long left to short right. Right? So that's the pattern that we are aiming around, the golf course. Gotta keep catching myself when I say that. My verbal crutches. 99. Somebody else drop another yardage target in the chat for me. Somewhere between 50 and 110. $100. Really close to 99. I would be very happy with that. This guy's got to chill out with the wind. Boots says 92. We're in Rhode Island, Boots. Let's go for 92. $96. Okay, it's a solid effort. Within 4 yards. I'd love to be eventually dialed into the every 5 yards, right? We could feel pretty confident hitting 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105. How many times do you hit it over the net? Pretty much never. 105 it is, Paul. $107, okay. Within 2 yards, I'm happy with that. Also, check it out, guys. We've just been hitting so many balls with this club, but there's no real reason to, brush it off. So, we're just getting, golf ball skin all over the sweet spot, which is kind of cool to see. Nice to be hitting the center of the face with a sand wedge. Pretty much never is once in a while. No, I think it's happened once. I did shank one that hit the fence and then got caught by the net. But no, I don't have much concern about that happening. Let's keep it going, guys. Drop me another number. Let's see, how many people we got in the chat? 97. We're going to go for 97 yards. Shout out to you guys. Almost 100 chatters. Checking out the stream. 23 minutes in. Love to see that. 97 yards is what we're going for here. $98. Oh, that was very close. Feeling pretty good with these yardages, guys. That's because you are too good. I don't know about that. 66. Execute order 66. Unfortunate. What handicap are you, bro? Well, my handicap is usually putting. But if you're asking about my index, 1.6 is where we're at right now. Mathis wants us to hit it 19 yards. Let's try to hit it 19 yards. Just open the face a little. Just a little flick. 22. That's pretty close. If that's, the carry number we were going for, that'd be a acceptable-ish outcome. I've been deep diving into the hinge factor, getting the crunch with the difference between Eastern and Western philosophy. I love that. Tell me what you've learned. This is pretty far afield from our typical topics of conversation, but Conquest of Bread is a book that I think everybody should read by Kropotkin. $46. Paul said 46. Let's go for that. $36. Yeah, that wasn't hit particularly solidly. That is a very awkward yardage for me. Can open the face a little. 41. Gaining on it. Yasser says, that's good, bro. Yes, it's all relative. $49. Okay, so that's definitely close. Close-ish. No, Yasser, I know that is a very good index to carry. Just for me, it's, you know, my index had spiked at the beginning of this year, right, from not playing a lot of golf. So I started, you know, the last couple of years I've been closer to 0. So I got up above 2. And now we've been fighting our way back, trying to get back to 0. Moto King, even 70. All right. That might be too hard. Yeah, 78. Let's get another shot at that one. $77. Okay. I'm glad because it did feel like pretty much the same swing I made the one before. So we got to take a little bit off of there. $68. All right, that's close. Eastern Foundation is all about unconditional love and forgiveness. Western is a subliminal message of being born a sinner. Hard to compare, really. That is a good overview. I like that. Gives us all a good place to start. 73 was a good year. Love it. That's good. Okay. 78 watchers now. Let's hit it 78 yards. The problem, guys, is if you guys get the chat up to, like, you know, 200 people, I'm going to need a 5-iron. The most we've ever had in the chat, I think, is in the mid-500s that I've seen as far as peak concurrence. 78 yards here. $82. Not terrible. See, well, as soon as I say it, 117. I don't know if I can hit this club 117 yards. We can try. 117, guys. Shout out to you guys. Keep it going. Let's blow this thing up. And if you have questions, you want me to do drills, we can talk through that stuff too. I don't know if I got enough of it. 115. Pretty close. Within 2 yards, we'll take that. You ever hit driver, get that 500 yards. Oh, awesome, Pig Fan. How you doing? Great to see you in the chat again today. Sorry for the confusion. I know we had a scheduled live stream and then had some trouble getting into that, so we just created a new one. But we did get it working now, and all is good. I'm going to take a little... Let me catch up here. It rolled in 2 feet. Love it. Hey, ETM is here. Moto King says, good to see you, Pig Fan. Love that. There was no time for lunch today, guys, so we're doing what we can. What is your furthest carry drive? Well, way back in the day, Moto King, when I was playing in college, I could get my ball speed pretty close to 180. That feels like it's, you know, so far away. Like, you know, my club head speed now could never get to 120. But yeah, the fastest I've ever been on TrackMan was 121 club head speed. And so you'd have to look it up, right? Like, what is 180 or 181 ball speed equal in terms of carry, but it's around 300 yards in the air, I think. Again, depending on, you know, launch angle and spin, all that stuff. Any putting tips I can do at home? Yeah, definitely. You can work on some short putts, right? Set yourself up a little gate You can use some extra golf balls. I have the Pels Tutor set up inside that you guys have seen me use. Right, so you'd set up a gate and just practice rolling it through the gate. You know, you can make the gate narrower as your skill improves. Right, you just need, you know, a flat surface or a carpet. And you can find out if you're pulling your putts, like I did there. You got jumped trick-or-treating. See, guys, now we're at 149 watchers, and there's just no shot I can hit sand wedge that far. That's like either 8 or 9 iron. How far the gate away? I would, you know, only about maybe 6 inches in front of where you're hitting from. Right, somewhere where your follow through isn't going to hit it, but you don't need it to be super far away. Ace, I need your help with my mental game. Give me your best mental game tips. How to stay focused and engaged for all 18 holes. I was on my net the other day and was super consistent. That's awesome, ETM. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Nearly done fueling. I would also recommend, you know, usually like trying to find some fruit or maybe, you know, a healthier snack than these peanut butter crackers, but sometimes you just gotta grab quickly what you can grab. How tall is the tent? So the top of the tent is about 9.5 feet, 10 feet. The sides are, I think, 7. And I got this one specifically because I needed that height. You see a lot of them that have a flat top and there's just not enough room to swing under them. So this one I did have to spend some time looking for Hey, Trains is here. Can you hit 3-wood or driver? I definitely can. But not when... Well, ideally, I like having the screen here so I can see the chat without having to always turn and, you know, lose what I'm doing. But we do need to swing. That's my one mistake I made was centering this on the tent, right? Because ideally, you know, the highest part of your swing with a driver is slightly behind you. So there are times where you can't see probably from your view, but there is a rip in the tent behind me from where I was hitting drivers and, you know, caught in my follow through the edge of the tent. So nothing catastrophic, but I do, you know, when I hit drivers under here, I do need to tee it up further to the side, like kind of right where you guys are standing or, you know, sitting. So I've done less of that recently. I also prefer... I prefer hitting driver at the driving range so you can see the flight and pick targets and really work on kind of execution. But speed training has been great. I've used the RAPSODO for speed training. Hey, Deleuze is here. Happy Halloween to you. Thanks for checking out the stream, guys. Drop a like if you're enjoying hanging out. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get back to doing some wedge work. I've got my 56-degree sand wedge in hand. And of course, if you guys have questions or drills you want to work on, just drop them in the chat. We can answer those questions. Thanks for the layout of the setup. My house garage is too short for driver or clubs. Need to set up outside with a tent like yours. So Moto King, you can also, if you check out the channel, I made a video talking about the outdoor setup and some thoughts. All right, 167, guys. Well, we can try it. Let's try to hit 7-iron and see if we can get to 167. That's how many chatters we have. Switching to 7-iron. Hopefully we're sufficiently loose by now. Let's fix that shank move. I'm good for about 1 shank a year, and I happened to catch it on camera this year, which was awesome. My miss historically, and especially recently, has been more on the toe, actually. So, not always super upset with strike moving back towards the center. 167 is what we said, guys. No, it's just gonna launch too low in here. 155 was that one. I will check that out after the stream. Awesome. Deleuze said 67, huh? Can you explain how to hit a flop shot? I'm completely self-taught and cannot wrap my head around it. Sure. There's a lot of wind happening. All right, we'll hit one more of these and then go back to the sand wedge. Oh boy. Nope, didn't pick it up. Try hitting it from over here. As you can see, guys, our mat it's been abused, if we're being honest. 220 in the chat now, that's awesome. Shout out to you guys hanging out. You know, oh boy, we've taken a massive divot. 168, right? Weren't we going for 167? 168 is close. Took us 3 tries. All right, I'll switch it back to the sand wedge so that Deleuze can get his 67-yard number. We'll see how many tries that takes. Oh, sand wedge. $67 yards. We struggled with this one a second ago, didn't we? It's pretty close to 70. It's like a smooth 70. $73. Boy, we are truly moving this part of the mat to its last days, aren't we? Okay, so Jay, the flop shot. Some keys, 3 keys I'll give you for the flop shot. Very simple. Number 1, open the club face, right? Turn it to the right. Open the club face. Lower the handle, right? So when you set up to it, you're going to set up with the face open, lowering the handle, and opening your stance like this, right? So if this is square, you're going to go open the face, open your stance, lower the handle. So that's the setup. And then from there, you're just trying to swing along your foot line, right? So you're going to pick the club up a little bit outside and cut across and underneath the golf ball, right? You're trying to apply some speed to it, but with a lot of loft presented so that that ball is going to come up into the air and not roll out a lot. Can you teach a stinger? Yes, we can teach the stinger. So you grab your, whatever club you're going to use, a 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron. I'll grab a 5-iron because that's the longest iron I've got in my bag at the moment. Right? Stingers, again, some setup keys that can make it a lot easier. So with this club, I would normally be, half a ball forward of center as far as ball position. It's going to move back a little bit, kind of right in the middle or half a ball back. I'm going to open my stance again. And then the backswing is going to be, very normal. Nothing's going to change there really. If anything, I'll keep more of my weight on the front side. So maybe, 55, 60% here and just kind of stay there instead of, a more normal, fuller swing with more height to it. It's going to have more weight transfer. And then it's just an abbreviated follow through. So that's the last piece. right? I don't need this big high follow through. We're just trying to cut it off down here, keep that flight down. You know, you should see that ball come out low, running. Oh, Rapsodo is very confused about how I hit my sand wedge with that much ball speed. That's funny. Oh, that's not going to work. Just use the old-fashioned way. This wind is really something, huh, guys? Appreciate you sticking with me through some adverse conditions. Yeah, we lost. We're losing some of the underneath part, Moto King, for sure. Sound quality is great, even with the high winds. That's good to hear. To be honest, John, I would donate 100 so you can get a new mat, but I don't have that money because I'm kind of homeless. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Flip the mat around. Well, we've already done that. Although, to your point, when we made that choice, this side was the worst side. Now this side's the worst side, so... You know, why not? Let's see. My hitting station's like, don't look, guys! Look at this. Look at all this nice, clean area to hit off of. We just have to stand in a divot, but that's fine. Beautiful. That's why we keep you guys around, right? GV wow. How many backspin? Oh, it doesn't give us that number, unfortunately. We just get ball speed and carry and launch angle. But check out the link in the description, guys. Maybe Scroll Sniper, can you drop the RAPSODO link and pin it to the chat so that people can see it? We've been getting a lot of questions about the launch monitor. Okay, so we're set up with the sand wedge. We've got 130 people watching. I'm going to try to hit this 130. I'm not going to, but let's try. 130 yard, 56 degree. Play it way in the back of our stance. $125, pretty close. That was closer than I thought we would get, guys, with a 56. New mat might be a good investment. I agree. We just got to got some more, sponsors on board, keep the channel pumping, and then we'll have some discretionary income to spend on things like new hitting mats. Can you do a backflip? I can't do a backflip as much as I wish I could. I could try to stand on that stool and do one, but then all you would see is either, me die live on the stream or me break my neck and watch as the paramedics had to come in. Say you will hit a 130. Hey, Jose Manuel is here. LOL, this is a 56 degree wedge we've got in hand right now. 146. We can't hit this club 146. I know what you're saying, Moto King, but there's just no way. Okay, 122 is manageable. Let's go for 122. $116. Needed to go at it a little harder. Trying to save the golf balls. Sweep the leaves. You guys wouldn't believe me, but before I came out here, or before I turned the stream on, there was not a lot of leaves in front of me. And there just are again. There just are again. I appreciate the honesty. 0 out of 10 backflips on this channel, but an honest host with some great golf skills. That is a very backflip-centric review of the channel, but an accurate one. Who do you put as moderators? We've had some people that have been watching the stream and hanging out for a really long time with us since the beginning, and some people that, like me, want to see the chat be, positive and optimistic, and $115. Yeah, it's just got to be further back in the stance, I think, to get it in that 120, 125 range. How long do you run the stream for normally? Oh, it depends how much time I have. Like you guys saw, we did one this morning where I had truly 20 minutes, and I said, well, I'm going to hit some putts. Why not turn the stream on, stream for 20 minutes, hang out, say hi to some folks, which we did. On a day like today, we might go for between, I don't know, 90 minutes. Maybe it's kind of an average, what I shoot for. I'd love to do more, but it's hard to, swing for that long. Birdie Badger, still golfing then? Thought you had work. It's funny. You need a new glove. I know. Look at this thing. This is a practice glove. We've been abusing it just like this mat. Pigfan wants to be in one of my videos. I'm sure we could find a way to make that happen, Pigfan. But like I told you, man, you got to build your own audience. We work together, and there's obviously a lot of community support and stuff, but it's not going to be one for one. Your content is going to be unique to you, and you want your audience to be people that are interested in what you're making, because what I make is different than what you make. Right? So we can support each other and lift each other up, but at the end of the day, the people that are going to support you and grow with you as you continue making content, you want that to be unique to you. That's why, no two audiences completely overlap. Everybody has a different style and way that they go about doing stuff. That was not hit particularly solidly. All right, give me a number here, guys. Somebody shout out a number between 50 and 105. Pig fan is a super fan. Yeah, that's great. We love, having tons of support on the channel, right? That's what we're trying to do here, guys. If there was one advice to give to new golfers, what would it be? Great question, Moto King. My best piece of advice for new beginners is twofold. But the first piece is learn impact, right? You just have to learn, how do I get the center of this club face onto the golf ball? How do I hit the center of the club face? How do I hit the golf ball and then the turf? And how do I control the face direction, right? Where this club face is pointed. That's impact, right? So, and the second piece of that is you have to slow down to build that technique, right? It's a really slow process of just learning how to get the club on the ball in the proper way. If you try to do it with big, long, full swings when you're trying to hit the ball 150 yards down the driving range, it's going to take longer. It's going to be much more difficult. You will be much, much better off if you're really a beginner spending 80% of your practice time, 80%, just learning how to get to impact, right? And strike that ball solidly. You can add speed from there. That's much easier. The technique of bringing that club onto the ball is what you really need to learn. All right, we got some good numbers here. 80 and then 73. Saw another 80. All right, 80 yards. Show me 80 yards. I liked where that was headed. Oh, 90. We just absolutely flushed it. 10 yards too far. Let's get one more try at 80, and then we're going to go to 73. $77. Okay, that's pretty close. I like that. Now 73 was the next one, right? And then 78. So this is a really good range, practicing some of these in-between awkward wedge yardages. 73 yards now. $83. I didn't think I hit it that hard. The launch monitor knows, though. All right, one more try at 73, and then we're going to go to 78. Yeah, that was fat. 56. You got to be honest, guys. I just chunked it. We fully chunked it. Okay. Start slow is great advice and impact. Yes. 6-7. 67 yards. We can try that. Let's try it, guys. $59. I don't know that I agree, sir. Sir? So clearly I agree that these between 50 to 75 is the hardest for me with this club right now. $61. How much for a new mat? Oh, it totally depends what kind and quality you get. This is a very basic, you know, Dick's Sporting Goods Max Fly hitting mat. I think it was like $180, which feels high to me for the quality of it, in that it, you know, clearly has not held up all that well from a durability perspective. Although, in fairness, I have hit lots and lots of golf balls. So it's a good question. I don't know. I would probably, if it was, you know, if I was going to go buy a new one, I would check out the Net Return website and see what they have there. I've just had such a quality experience with the hitting mat that I would be inclined to go there first. What do you think about baseball grip for beginners? I can't seem to feel comfortable interlocking my pinky. I think it's totally fine. There's guys that have played professional golf and ones that still do that use that grip. You know, the golf ball doesn't know or care what, you know, arrangement your fingers are on the golf club. However, it is less common for a reason, in my opinion. But if it's not comfortable, it's not comfortable. I switched after 15 years, right? I used to interlock like this my whole life. And a year ago, I switched to overlapping and haven't looked back. So you're allowed to change. Jason Day changed how he grips the club as a professional. So, you know, don't be afraid to explore these things in the quest for getting better. Use a hockey grip like Happy Gilmore. We could definitely try. Oh, off the post. We did straight hosel the first one. I love that, Pig Fan. That's awesome. Also, guys, another way you can support the channel, go follow me on Instagram if you're over there on Instagram. We just set up a new account over there. $74. All right, so it's at least in the ballpark. Whoa. Whoa. Spooky stuff happening on Halloween. You know, $51. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Why did you get that specific net? I got this net because I wanted something that I knew would fit the space I had. Very shallow for how big it is. And it's built to last, right? I wanted to invest in something that I knew I could have for a decade, right? And not have to worry about replacing it or it breaking. And that part has been fully, you know, check the box. It's not the cheapest net you can find. But if you're interested in one, there is a link in the description of the live stream here. You can get 10% off with that link. We've had some of our viewers take advantage of that. Somebody call it a number between 50 and 100. How do you make your 56 degree go higher? Well, you need to present more waft and impact, right? So I actually have 56 degree in hand. If you were, you know, say your average launch condition looked like this, or, you know, at impact, right? By presenting more waft, you'll get that ball going higher up in the air. But I would caution you, chasing hitting your wedges higher is maybe not the best avenue unless, if you're mishitting them and it's coming out really low, that's kind of a separate issue. But if you're striking your wedges solidly, then there's not often a need to hit it, higher in the air. $77. How do I not bend my wrist when golfing and still get a good swing speed? Well, you have to bend your wrist, right? Your wrists are important for manipulating the club and getting it into the right positions. So there is definitely, the hinging happens as a result of the energy of the club starting to change direction, right? But it is important that happens in order to, unwind the energy at the ball. All right, Moto King said 85. Let's dial up 85 here. 56 degree, looking for 85 yards. $90, so a little too firm with it. $99, great number, Pig fan. $98, oh, very close. Very, very close. And then 50 from Coop. Coop wants to see a 50-yarder. I got you. Right on the money, 50 yards exactly. Love that. 90 is good for the wind. I love it. I love it. What glove do I use? Oh, usually whichever ones are cheap. I'm kind of partial to the Titleist gloves because I've just used them for a long time. Let's see what other gloves I have in here. Yeah, this is just one of those FootJoy. Pretty basic. This is a newer one. See, they're not all terrible, guys. This is one I would use like on the golf course. But if anybody knows a glove company in search of influencer support, send them my way. There's got to be golf glove companies, right? Like, boutique or niche glove makers. Oh, Pigfin, yeah, we did. We got 98 yards on the 99 shot. Real leather or synthetic? To be honest, I don't know the answer. Any tips for hitting an iron on a steep incline? My local courses are very hilly. Yeah, so my best advice is understand the tendencies, like what's going to happen when you're hitting off of uphill and downhill lies. Chiefly being, on a downhill lie, it's going to come out lower, so you can take less club. On an uphill lie, it's going to come out higher with more spin, so you need to take more club. Functionally, the best thing I would tell you is try to align your body with the slope, right? So if you're standing on a big upslope or, on a downslope, right? Don't stand, normally to it. Try to get your shoulders on the same plane as where you're standing so that when you swing, that low point will be consistent the way that it normally would or as close as you can get, right? Because the strike, getting that consistent strike is going to be more difficult as a result of the lie you're standing on. So try to align your shoulders with whatever slope it is you're hitting off of. $1.6 right now. Thanks for being here, Pig fan. Tatum, any tips for an over-the-top swing? Totally. So understand what causes the over-the-top swing. It's usually just a reaction to the takeaway being inside, right? So if you get the club in here close to you, the only way to get back to the ball is to go this way, right? Or if it's not, super inside even, too much right hand from the top, right? We'll steepen the club, send it out this way when we want it kind of working back down the plane. So a couple drills you can do. I like lead arm swings where you just swing it with only your lead arm on the club, and that really helps feel in your body what the sequence needs to feel like, right? Because you would never come over the top or early extend with just this one hand on the club. Right? So that can be a really good one to teach your body what it needs to feel like. As well as freezer drills, which is where you take it to the top, pause for a full second, and then swing through. Right? And again, helping with sequencing and not, kind of rushing to hit it. Right? So that's another good one. If you prefer having like a physical barrier, you can grab a head cover and drop it down. So if I'm hitting from here and I want to block that over the top path, right? I could grab this head cover from my driver and I'm just going to drop it down behind the ball to the right. Okay, so that over the top path where I'm slicing it is going to be blocked. So if you learn how to hit shots with the path more neutral, you're not going to hit that head cover. You're going to learn how to neutralize that path, and if the face is square, you'll hit the ball very straight. Hey, Yo-Yo's here. Travis Matthew makes gloves that are great, real leather, way better grip. Wow, interesting. Nice, I'm a +3 in Michigan, awesome. I didn't believe it at first, I'll have to check that out. Any tips for stopping an overswing? Just lots of practice, right? You got to really feel, it's going to feel very awkward and short, but just practice in slow motion, right? Where do I really want the end of the swing to be? I do this too, where you get really long and back here, especially with irons, bad things are going to happen. I do the towel drill quite a bit. Guys, you've seen probably on Instagram, those ads for the inflatable balls that you hold, between your arms. Same exact idea. You're just trying to work on connection. Right? So if you grab a band, you can use an exercise band like this, or a towel like I have, and this is going to really help you feel that connection. It's going to be very hard to overswing, right? Because overswing, you're going to raise your arms, and then boom, we've lost the towel. So very hard to overswing if you do this drill successfully. Right? You just got to turn and turn. Really good strike on that swing there. Is having a smooth tempo a good thing? Always. What should I do if I'm hitting a low push? Well, it sounds like the strike is probably not where you want it to be, so make sure you're hitting the center of the club face. You can use some of that foot spray on your club to tell you exactly where you're hitting it. I'm going to turn the launch monitor off, guys, because we're also about to run out of battery. Let's grab an 8-iron and we can start doing some more ball striking drills. Right? I need to work on these myself. So get that ready to be charged. Bring home some leaves. So Yo-Yo, the push is telling us that the path is out to the right. And if it's coming out low, I would imagine that it's probably something to do with the strike. Hey, Taco Truck Man is here. What is proper front leg usage during the swing? So don't be afraid of letting that front foot come off the ground some, right? Plenty of good players. Bryson, Jack Nicklaus, Matthew Wolf. I mean, I could name a whole bunch of them. Let that front foot come off the ground. I used to as well and still sometimes do. Right? So it's totally fine to, let that heel come up, help you turn back further, generate more speed. And then from there, it's really about, coming in to turn back and then extending and pushing off the ground with his left foot, right? That's how we generate speed. If you ever watched Kyle Berkshire, the long driver hit, you'll notice his front foot is coming like around over here because he's pushing off the ground so hard to generate force that it ends up, landing back over here. You're welcome, Ford. Hello from Northern Ireland, Embedded Golf, welcome. Good man, John, been following you for a while. Appreciate you, my dude. All Sports said hi. Ryan said happy Halloween. When will be your next putting stream? Maybe later today, Moto King. See how I'm feeling. Maybe we'll go for 3 in a day. That would be something crazy, huh? Really like that preset impact drill. That's one of my favorites. So I'll do some of these. And these are the drills I do to, work on my own game. Right, guys? We're all in the quest for more consistent contact. Trying to find the center of that face as often as possible. Homemade golf sim, worth it. I think it's definitely worth it. I've saved a ton of money, guys. Imagine, just do some quick math, right? Let's say you go to the driving range twice a week. You spend $20 each time. So you spend $40 a week for 52 weeks. You're looking at $2 grand a year just going to the driving range to hit twice a week. I hit way more than twice a week, and I can do that much more frequently by having this at home. So if you're like, well, John, you spent $1,200 to set up this out-home setup. Like, dude, in a year, it's already paid for itself because the volume is incomparable. I can hit as many golf balls as I want. I never have to worry about, is it busy or do I have to wait for a bay to hit, right? One-man show out here. So I've had a really positive experience, investing and setting this up. How do I stop slicing the ball with my driver every single time? So again, this drill Oregon that we just looked at. So drop this head cover down behind your ball to the right. And most often when you're slicing it, it's because the face is open and the path is across it. Right? Imagine if you were playing tennis, you were going to hit a drop shot. You would open up the racket and you would cut down and across the ball. Well, that's exactly what's happening when you slice the driver. Right? So you need to get that face more shut, more closed, and the path more neutral. Right? Less across it and more down the target line. So by putting this head cover here, that over-the-top slice path is going to be blocked, right? So if you can learn how to hit shots, and you don't have to start at full speed, you can just start with little half swings, right? Learn how to hit balls without your club striking that head cover. And that can be a really, really effective drill for working on your slice. Give that one a try. Let us know how it goes. Is having a good-looking swing something to aim for? I think no. No. My perspective is the golf ball doesn't care what your swing looks like. There's a reason why golf swings like John Rahm and Jim Furyk can both exist on the PGA Tour because they're incredibly good at consistently striking the golf ball properly. Physics doesn't care what the swing looks like, how they get there. You can swing it up here and underneath. You can swing it, strong and inside and like John does. Tons of different ways to get it done. So I think you're better off training impact. Once you have a functional move that is, close to on plane, or even if it isn't, right? Go check out Jake Dez on Instagram, guys. His swing is, steep and his hands are super high and he's over the top most of the time. And guess what? He knows exactly where the ball is going every single time. His club face control is impeccable. He hits these, high draws and low fades and all kinds of different shots with a swing that is not particularly aesthetically pleasing, but it's incredibly effective because that's what the golf ball cares about. And there's a reason he's a +5, and there's lots of guys with beautiful golf swings that couldn't even come close to playing that kind of golf. Very true. Totally, Moto. Anything DIY is always money saving. Totally. Good to know. Considering a sim setup, I think it's worth it. Having trouble drawing each club too much, causing a massive hook miss. So same, opposite idea, right? You got to get that face more open. Learn how to hit some slices again, right? See that ball going the other way, and learn how to deliver a club face into impact that is more open to produce a different ball flight, right? Because I could just tell you a drill and you could stop hooking it so much, but I want you guys to build your skill set. The skill is, how can I, within the confines of my own athletic ability and skill, deliver a consistent, path and face combination and change it if necessary, right? So, I've done it thousands and thousands of times. So I know when I'm standing here what has to happen for me to hit a draw and deliver the face more closed, or to, have the face be more open and hit a fade, right? I'm not standing there thinking about the face being open. I just know what I have to do, right? The things that cause the ball to fade for me. And that could feel very different for somebody else. But that is the skill that we're trying to develop. New mat required. Yeah, you're exactly right. We just are a little bit too broke after buying a new house to be spending money on new hitting mats. But if you guys want to keep blowing up the channel, maybe this will become a self-sufficient operation and we can get a new hitting mat. I'm going to get an MLM2 Pro for my birthday. Awesome choice. Matt Wolf has a weird swing, but it's always pure. Totally. I have a pretty good looking swing, but I'm not even close to scratch. Yeah, well said, right? You know, you can have lots of swings that look nice, and if you can't deliver the club face consistently, you're not going to get good results. It is RAPSODO embedded. We are also using it's put away now, but we have a RAPSODO launch monitor that we use out here. So check out the link in the description if you guys want to learn more about that. You can also just go like this. How do you get so flexible to finish the end of the swing? It does take some work, right? You have to work on your mobility, right? In golf, we need lots of thoracic rotation, you know, upper body spine rotation with our shoulders. You know, you need to be able to rotate your hips, you know, internally and externally in order to, you know, get the club moving the way we want it to. So I work on mobility daily. It's part of, you know, the time that I spend working on my golf game, right? You definitely need your body for every single golf shot, right? It doesn't matter how good your swing is if you can't get through 18 holes because of, you know, your joints or not being able to, you know, stay in those positions. How many super chats do you receive on here? Oh, maybe like 1 per stream. But guys, that's, you know, there's plenty of places you can more effectively spend your money and make a difference in the world than here with me. But I do think as long as we stay consistent and keep growing our audience and platform, that, you know, hopefully there will be brands and people where it resonates. You know, it's not just about golf, but this idea of using golf as a container to talk about things that are important to me that you guys have heard me talk about before and make content about, right? You know, whether it's my sobriety and my experience with alcohol, you know, being a support system for, you know, people in recovery, my experience talking about things like therapy and using it as a tool to improve my mental health and learn to manage things like anxiety and depression or ADHD. Definitely, Yo-Yo, I totally agree with that. It is the best launch monitor under $1,000. Coffee or tea? Oh, well, I used to love coffee, but I quit caffeine as well. I gave up caffeine maybe 4 or 5 months ago now. I still drink decaf coffee once in a while, but I enjoy my tea at the end of the day, so I'm going to say tea. Is it bad to lift your front foot? It is not. You are allowed to lift your front foot. I played some really, really good golf. Actually, some of the best golf I've ever played was when I was really letting that front foot come up. Maybe I'll start doing it again. Tea, but I'm English, so kind of biased. Fair enough. So I shouldn't bring up my carne asada tonight with Modelo. I'll have some carne asada, bro. Or if I actually just picked up some of those non-alcoholic Coronas. Those are really good. I know it's not for everyone, guys, but for me, the alcohol-free beer has been a great tool for me to, especially socially, right? To be able to hang out with my friends and watch a football game and still have a beer or two without the consequences of drinking alcohol. Because that's a choice. I'm not going back, right? I've decided the rest of my days, I'm not going to be a drinker. I've done it. I've been really good at it. You know, I've made a different choice, and I'm going to stick with it. You know, we're coming up on 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in the spring of sobriety, so, you know, I'm at 4.5 probably, but almost 5. Tea is a better option. What's your best round? My best round ever is a 600 par 64. I made 6 birdies, an eagle, and a double bogey. The rest pars. Really, really like that impact drill, guys. If you're working on your irons, your ball striking, right, we just preset our impact position and then go ahead and swing through it. A little, you know, chippy half swing, 3/4 swing. Never mind, I'm going trick-or-treating. Embedded says, off the sauce for over 18 months a while back and felt great. Gonna give it another bash. You can definitely do it embedded. If you've done 18 months, you can stick with it for sure. Hi from Canada. My last golf outing this Sunday. Trial will close their courses after this weekend. Getting cold. I know. It is definitely... This is the denial part of the year where you're like, oh, maybe we get a few more weeks before it gets cold. But no, it's getting cold right now. It's just getting cold. If you ever need someone to reach out to, let me know. Thanks very much, Moto King. Montreal. Very cool. What's your home course? I don't really have one at the minute, guys. I've just been playing public golf since we bought this new house and my wife and I moved down a little further south. Did you get a look at the darts, bud? I did, Paul. I was watching some of the highlights. I was just Googling. I was learning about... I've already forgotten the name. Michael Van Gerwen. I know he's like a superstar and you're embarrassed and I'm like, I'm just learning about this person. But I was watching him. I was watching the other guy, Luke, you were telling me about. It is very... I love the atmosphere. The atmosphere seems very fun. I would love to go try and see that in person. Cold and wet here in Scotland. Are you getting a ball tracer or golf simulator? Do I play on a tour? I do not play on a tour. We do have a simulator. Well, we have a launch monitor that we run that's a RAPSODO MLM. Here, we can probably just leave this out. It's not turned on, guys, but we'll leave it here for practical effect. Because people do have questions about it frequently. So we use a ball tracer on the videos. I do that with a mobile app called Golf Tracer. Little toey. They have it every year in Madison Square Garden. The American tournament. I would probably travel to go see that. I have family in New York. I could make a day out of going down to watch some darts with some of the lads. Look at us, guys. Putting in the work. We're actually doing the drills. Sometimes I get distracted and I just start wailing away at golf balls, and there is still some value to that, but I like, making sure that I'm checking in with these drills periodically. The other one we were doing yesterday that's really good is the paddle drill, right? So we're just going to swing the club with the right hand barely supporting the club there, just pushing on the end of the grip, and that's to, again, force us to rotate through to square the face. We can't flip it or throw it when our hand is just, kind of pushing and supporting the club that way. How do you juggle the ball with your club? Oh, it takes practice, but you just kind of learn how to scoop it up. This one's just practice. I don't have any particularly interesting advice, I don't think. You just, it's a flat surface. You learn how to bounce the ball into a consistent area where you can reposition the club underneath it again. As far as scooping it, that also is just, practice, right? You're trying to pick something up with a flat edge. It is easier with like a wedge. This is an 8-iron, so, not as friendly. The more loft you have, the easier it will be. Two days. Oh, Paul, you're saying it's in Madison Square Garden in 2 days? How many golf balls do you hit in a day? I would say like around 100 a day, probably, on average, because I don't hit balls every day if the weather's truly awful. Maybe more, maybe 150 a day. Feels like I should be... Doesn't it feel like I should be better at golf, guys? No, that's not positive self-talk. I should be grateful of all the progress that I've made and continue to make. Here we go. That one we hit into there, I think. Just a little deflection off of the board. Oh, I see. That is a good amount. Yeah, I'm usually pretty happy with that amount of practice. And it's fun now that we have a pretty consistent setup and I can live stream with you guys and, you know, do some drills, answer people's questions. Got to really work on my posture. That's on my mind for the winter again. I like that swing. That swing feels good. Hey, Elias is here. Your swing is solid, John. Thanks so much. Anson wants to know, how do you hit it purer out of the bunker? So are you talking, Anson, give me one follow-up question. Greenside bunker or fairway bunker? Right, are you talking about a greenside bunker where you're just trying to splash it out onto the green? Or a full swing out of, you know, from a fairway bunker? Elias said hi. Hello, Elias Golf. Greenside. Okay, so some fundamentals you need to know for greenside bunkers. Number one is that you're not hitting the golf ball. Your club is not going to touch the ball. The way that the ball is propelled out of the bunker is by your club hitting the sand underneath the golf ball. Right? So imagine this golf ball was on sand, right? What's actually going to move the ball is our club going underneath it and the energy of that sand being propelled forward and upwards, right? So that's our objective. Our objective is to get our club, you know, splashing this ball out of the sand, right? We're not trying to actually strike it with our club, okay? That's why you'll hear people jokingly say, bunker shots are actually the easiest shot in golf. You don't actually hit the ball. Well, I don't think we agree that's all true, but the concept is the same. Fundamentals, right? You've got to get the face a little bit open. I recommend using, you know, a sand wedge or a lob wedge. I use my 60 degree, right? You're going to open the face, lower the handle. It's kind of similar to playing a flop shot, right? Get the handle back. You don't need the handle forward like you're chipping, right? But just a nice neutral sort of shaft angle. And then I like to feel like I'm kind of picking the club up and out to the right. Like there's a spot out here I'm trying to reach, and then I'm cutting down and across and underneath the golf ball to get it popping up in the air. You know, it comes out with some spin, makes it much easier to control the distance, right? So you're just kind of out here and across it, right? Just get that ball coming out nice and easy. Do you have 3-iron or hybrids? What distance? Oh, my longest iron is a 5-iron, guys. I have kind of a weird bag setup. I go driver, 5-wood, 7-wood. Then I have a 5 hybrid, a 5-iron, or 5 through 9-iron, and then my wedges are 46, 52, 56, and 60. The darts players look like they're never going to miss. Oh, I know. They make it look so easy, and I have played a decent amount of darts and am terrible. Like, I have no illusions about my skill level as a darts thrower. It's like I imagine a beginner golfer watching the PGA Tour. There's like, how do they make it look so easy? That's sort of the sensation I had, Paul. Hey, if you remember me, I was getting rid of my hook. It was my grip. My lead hand was too strong. There you go, Magna. I do remember you. I'm glad that you had a positive result, and I'm glad that you came back to post us on your progress. So impact. Boom. Really trying to feel like that club is, my body is the engine, right? We're getting that club rotate, you know, through impact. It's because they are so relaxed That makes sense to me. I feel like you need to kind of reach a zen almost state to perform something so precise. They have rubber wrists too. That feels right. Andrew's here. Hello from UK 4 handicap. 4 handicap is excellent. Especially a UK handicap. You guys are much more serious about your handicaps than we are here in America. More backspin on the ball, right? So you need more spin loft. So you need more speed with loft presented, right? So play around with opening the face on your wedge, you know, trying to get that club face on, or excuse me, the golf ball on the club face for as long as possible, right? Spin is a result of friction. So by opening the face and cutting across it, right, we can get the ball on the face for longer, right? That will create more spin. Now I'm trying to get my driver sorted. Been trying the Mo Norman swing, and it's 7 out of 10. Have you tried it? I have not specifically tried, you know, what you would call the Mo Norman swing. However, I have really enjoyed watching and learning about Mo Norman. I was actually just watching a piece about him earlier today, and just his approach and his consistency as a ball striker. That is obviously something to try to emulate. Let's see the posture. I really need to pay attention to the posture. Just gets too hunched sometimes. Do you have a hole-in-one? I don't have a hole-in-one, guys. I've never made one. Well said, Andrew. What's your driver model? I have the QI10 Max. I did some testing at the beginning of the year, guys, against the core head. And even though I'm a low single-digit index, I went for this more forgiving head because I didn't notice any drop-off in performance on the center strikes. Right, for both models, they were good. They were going straight. The spin was exactly where I wanted. My concern was that this max head the spin would be too high, even on the good strikes. But that wasn't the case. And it obviously was, substantially more forgiving on the off-center strikes. And I also play a shorter driver, right? So this is only like 44.5 or 44.25 inches. So you could think about it almost like in between a driver and a mini driver. The goal there being, I'm never going to hit this club 310, but I can hit it 280 very consistently, and it goes super straight. So for the golf courses around here that I play, which are, traditionally older, narrower, smaller golf courses, it's much more important to hit the ball straight than it is to truly maximize how far you're hitting it. So, again, like most of my bag setup, kind of unique. Or non-traditional, you could say, but that's okay. It works for me. How do you know to hit the tie? Oh, the tie spinner. I don't have that shot in the bag, so it's a never for me. That to me, I think, is more of a novelty shot than one that you would consistently play on the golf course. But maybe I'm wrong. Titleist D2. I remember it. That was a great driver. I really, really liked. That era of Titleist woods, especially when they had the black faces in the fairways with the white scoring lines. I thought those were excellent. Let's see how that swing looks. Ping G10, that's another good one. Yeah, Ping, Titleist, these are quality brands. Yeah, posture looks pretty good there. I'm really trying to stay away from that kind of rounded, hunched move or kind of setup position that I get into sometimes. And I think it's just about reps, right? You just got to practice it consciously. One club only for a round of golf, what would it be? Great question. I would probably pick like a 6-iron. I think 6-iron would be my pick if I could only hit one club, right? Because I can still hit it decently far off the tee, but it's not going to be super atrocious as far as, you know, maybe chipping or in a bunker, heaven forbid. The white TaylorMade drivers came out, I remember, yeah. The like the R1. I remember that one. I've been a TaylorMade guy going back to like the SLDR days. And then the M1, then the Stealth, now QI10. I have a Sim Max driver, but prefer hitting my old Cleveland launcher. Softer on the hit and a nice ping. I love it. Again, golf is fun, guys. If you find a club that you enjoy hitting. That felt a little stuck. Let's see how it looked. Sand iron. Well, how are you going to hit it off the tee, though, Paul? You won't be able to reach the green. You're just playing, you know, 3 shots into par 4s, maybe? No, swing looks good. It's just, you know, it's one plane up and down. Sombrero Supermax. I love it. Oh, all right, guys. We're starting to push the limits of what we can physically do as far as number of swings. So let's hit one more here, and then we'll call it for today. Really appreciate everybody checking out the stream. We had tons of great engagement, people hanging out. You know, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do one more paddle drill. Because I do really, really like that drill. When I do it successfully, I think it really does translate into my ball striking. All right, so posture. That wasn't hit very solidly, was it? If you could only use one brand, what would you choose? Great question. I've thought about this a lot in terms of, you know, when you envision what success in this industry could look like, right? You look at, you know, Micah Morris and Grant and some of these guys, and they all are working with these big manufacturers as far as sponsorship. And I've thought to myself, well, which one would I go with? And I always keep coming back to TaylorMade. I've really enjoyed their equipment for a number of years. I think it's super cool, the content that they make with the club testing and the behind-the-scenes stuff with, you know, Tommy and Rory and Scotty. There we go. That's a good strike. With our paddle drill there. So TaylorMade, I think, is the one I would pick if I had my choice. Been tuning in while I cook dinner. Number 1 drill for ball striking. Oh, sorry, Cammy, I missed your question, but yes, we're doing it right now. So 2, right? Really, this paddle drill, where you make, you know, trail hand, just kind of pushing on the grip there, and you learn how to hit some shots like that. It really is going to force you to turn and turn through. You won't be able to flip that club head to get the impact. And then I also really like the preset impact drill, right? So I'll get in here in my setup, and I'll get into my impact position, and then make a little swing, really trying to feel getting back to that same spot. So that can be a really good one. I think maybe tonight, Moto King. Maybe do some putting later. I use the King Cobra Speed ID from 2007. I had an old Cobra S2 driver. That was a really, really solid one back in the day. I play on the golf course, Moto King, the TP5X Pix, the same one that Tommy Fleetwood uses, ironically, because everybody now is calling me the Tommy Fleetwood doppelganger. I think that is my favorite one at the moment, Anson, is that TP5X Pix. You guys just got to go over to Tommy's channel and say, hey, your doppelganger's already been on YouTube. You guys got to, you know, collab or film a video or something together. That'd be pretty cool, huh? we'll definitely try those 2 drills on the range tomorrow. Give it a try. Let me know how they go. The presetting impact one is pretty straightforward, but the paddle drill one, make sure you go slow, right? It can definitely require some practice and some patience to learn how to do that one successfully. But once you do, you'll find you can really generate some solid speed, right? Without needing, my right hand's barely on the club. And you can hear, how much energy is getting into that golf ball, even with that kind of swing. So, really, really effective drill. Do you ever try the pause drill? Does it work? It does work. I call it the freezer drill. That's what I was taught it's called. But yeah, pause drill is really good, especially for, early extension and a little bit of over the top steepness potentially. Do a few of those. That's another one that's kind of awkward and takes a bit of time to really feel comfortable executing consistently. All right, guys, my body is wishing that I would take a break, so that's what we're going to do. The affordable, so I use one that's very cheap. It's called Golf Tracer on iOS. Why did you change the interlocking grip, John? Good question, Paul. I felt like for me, what I was struggling with the most and have for a really long time is that flip move, right? Really throwing the club or casting it, right? And in just experimenting and being open to trying something new, I felt like by going to the overlap or the Varden grip, it made it more difficult for me to do that, to throw the club, right? Almost like it was taking my right hand out of the swing a little bit. And I definitely feel like I'm hitting the ball as straight as I ever have. The contact is pretty good. I call it the army grip. Oh, left, right, left, right. Left, right, left. That was pretty good cadence. I could call it cadence. Left, right, left. All right, guys, we're going to get this set up for another day. Golf has helped a lot with my anxiety. Me too, Moto King. And I'm proud of you for taking care of yourself, whether it's with golf or with other tools like exercise or therapy, or ones that I talk about a lot that have been super helpful for me in battling anxiety and depression. Because we all experience these things, right? Everybody has days where they don't feel at 100%, whether it's, just feeling down or stressed about specific things. We all need tools and coping mechanisms that are healthy and effective. And I hope that by openly talking about these things and making sure that people know these are normal things, everybody experiences them. And I think by doing that, we can try to change the narrative, right? Make these things less stigmatized. People should be more comfortable saying, you should be able to call your boss and say, hey, I'm having a bad mental health day. And that should be the same as, hey, I have the stomach flu, right? It's the same thing. If you're not feeling your best, then that's okay. And we need to support people and empathize with them. And that's my goal with this channel, is by talking about these things, and that it makes it a little bit easier to have these conversations. Or, we've had people chime in and say, hey, I heard you talking about your experience with sobriety, and I decided to make a change in my own life. That for me was a huge, huge moment, to have that moment of, wow, I'm actually making a difference in a real person's life by doing this. So it's not always easy, right? There are days where I have tough days and I don't feel like showing up and doing this, but I know it's important and I know that it's helping people, and we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep talking about this stuff. Golf will be the pretext, right? But golf is a wonderful parallel for a lot of things in life, so that part's actually easy. Thanks for the help. Great stream. Thanks, Anson. I appreciate that. So keep working hard out there, guys. Stay tuned. We might hop back on, do some more putting later tonight, see how we're feeling. But I'm incredibly grateful for all the support. We're going to keep things rolling here. John Young Golf. We'll see you next time.